So the Green Bay Packers just lost to the Detroit Lions at home at Lambeau Field, 34-20. It was a very poor game all around for the Packers. It couldn't have started worse. The first half, the Packers are down 27-3. The offense looked lifeless. I thought with Aaron Jones back, with Christian Watson back, we were going to see a much improved offense, and that just was not the case. Aaron Jones, for whatever reason, didn't get the ball for a while in the start of the game. I would have assumed the plan would have been to get the ball in his hands quickly. It just didn't really happen. And the Packers only end up giving the ball 5 times, 5 carries for 18 yards on the day, which was slightly confusing. I understand once you get down, you sort of move away from that. But to not start by feeding Jones, I don't know if they were still worried about his injury or what. But I think the biggest issue here in today's game is the struggles of the Packers offensive line. We already knew, David Bakhtiari out, now on the IR, Elton Jenkins out. And last week, they held up fine against the Saints pass rush. Honestly, most of the day, Jordan Love had plenty of time against the Saints. But this week, especially the first half, the Lions were manhandling this Packers offensive line. Rasheed Walker getting beat all the time, Royce Newman, Josh Myers. Jordan Love had almost no time back there to throw. And there were some throws that Love had that weren't great. That one interception in the first half. The one near the end of the game where him and Romeo Doubs aren't quite on the same page, so Love did throw 2 picks in this game. But in the first half, there was a stat they threw up during the game from NFL Next Gen Stats, and it was something like 47 or 48% of dropbacks. Love was being pressured, so he had no time back in the pocket, and that was the main culprit, the main issue, at least for this Packers offense in the first half. And so we held up nicely against the Saints, as I said, but against a more talented Lions pass rush, this offensive line crumbled. So we got to figure a way to solve that issue because Love is not going to find success if he has as much time as he did today, which was basically non-existent. And also, too, the fact that the Packers offense couldn't get anything going, it never helps the defense because the Packers were consistently getting 3 and outs for majority of the first half. But then the Packers defense couldn't really do anything to stop the Lions in their passing game, in their running game. We have another team run for over 200 yards against us, the last time being the Falcons with Bijan Robinson. They ran all over us. In this game, the Lions ran the ball 43 times for 211 yards, averaging 4.9 yards per carry. So the Packers defensive line, majority of the game, wasn't getting any push against that O-line. They were just easily running the ball at will, time after time after time, and the Packers defense just really had no answer for it. Jared Goff had a pretty solid day, 19 of 28, not incredibly great, but 19 of 28, 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, was sacked 2 times. The Packers started getting some pressure there, but all in all, a poor showing from this Packers defense. And I did know this was a Lions offense that I think is one of the better ones in the NFL. Much better than the Saints offense the Packers faced last week. And last week, the Packers defense played pretty well against Derek Carr in that offense, and then Jameis Winston when he came in. But they were getting a lot of pressure on Derek Carr and the Saints really couldn't run the ball in the Packers. But the Packers, anytime they seem to face a top tier, potentially top 10 running game in the league, they have no answer. They can't stop the run. They just can't. Last week against a lower tier running attack with the Saints, didn't have Kamara or Jamal Williams, the Packers did fine. But I'm worried about this Packers defense in many different facets of this game. Obviously, we're without Jair Alexander and Devondre Campbell, 2 key pieces, so I do think that definitely impacted this game. But still, the Packers got to figure out what to do here. It's just not working out against better offenses. I think against lower tier offenses, we may be fine, but against top 10 offenses who have a quarterback who can make the throws, get the ball out quickly, teams who can run the ball and block well on the offensive line, the Packers just have shown that they really can't do much on the defensive side of the ball. And I think, too, if you look back to the Packers offense and Jordan Love and this Matt LaFleur-led offense, we've just gotten off to such slow starts most of these games. The past 2 weeks, pretty much the entire game against the Saints until the fourth quarter, the Packers offense was struggling. We, of course, have the crazy comeback, and the Packers play really, really well in the fourth quarter. But for the first 3 quarters, the offense was lifeless against the Saints. And that same thing happened in this game in the first 2 quarters, and that basically cost the Packers the game. Because once you're down 27-3, obviously that falls on the defense and the offense. But once you're down by that much, the odds of you getting back in the game are very low. And it wasn't really until the second half, the third quarter, where the Packers showed some sign of life, which at least that's a positive. If you're going to take any positive from this game, is that when they're down a lot, the offense is still pushing the ball down the field. They don't fully give up. Jordan Love never seems to give up. He stays back there, keeps playing his game. And so that is a positive and a nice thing from a young quarterback that even though the Packers were getting crushed, they came in, made it somewhat close, 27-17 for a little while before the Lions, make it back to 34-20. So all in all, just a sad performance. I thought this would be a closer game. I thought that the Packers and Lions would be matched up pretty evenly. I think if the Packers offensive line had blocked well and hadn't sort of fallen apart, I think this would have been a much closer game, but clearly that was not the case. And then 2, Luke Musgrave goes down with a concussion, leaves the game. That obviously impacted the offense once that happened, but Christian Watson in his first game back, luckily he had a touchdown, but all in all, he didn't seem to be out there too much. He was out there from time to time, but still, I think the Packers are slowly getting him back in there. But I thought Jones and Watson would make a big difference this week, but when you're not blocking on the offensive line, there's not much you can do. And plus, I think we got to feed Aaron Jones more. I don't know his injury situation. The Packers obviously have a better idea. But I think in this game, we should have started off by, getting Aaron Jones some touches, whether it's running the ball, whether it's some screen passes, whatever it is. That guy's explosive with the ball in his hands, and we didn't really give him many opportunities in this game. And all in all, too, look at the Packers rushing attack, 12 carries, 27 yards, 2.3 yards per carry. That's not going to cut it. And once you get down, you can't really rely on the run. You got to pass it. But all in all, just a poor showing for the Packers. Now sitting at 2-2. Lots of different things to fix. We got to figure out this offensive line. We got to figure out how to get this offense off to a fast start. And hopefully this defense can solve these issues. But tough game for the Packers with the Lions now sitting at the top of the NFC North. That is going to be it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.